Time is 6:35, so I will call the work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, July 8th, 2024 to order. We have a quorum, everyone's present. So first we'll review the regular business meeting and public hearings agenda items. It's a long agenda, but we should move through it fairly quickly with all of it, a lot of it being first reads.
Didn't follow directions. It's okay.
Just hand me the rest.
I do, right after we call the meeting to order, I do plan to make an announcement in case there's people here for the rezonings. There's been a lot of stuff posted out on Nextdoor and Facebook about coming to the July 8th meetings. I tried to explain to people that nothing happens at this meeting, it's just a procedural vote, but I doubt people have caught on to that. So my concern is there's going to be a lot of people here and wanting to voice opinions, and we're not going to be doing any public discussion of those projects tonight. So I will make that announcement right after we call the order in case anyone wants to leave, or at least that I'll explain the process so that they understand what we're doing.
And as a matter of mercy, go ahead and let Erica know about getting
Oh, yeah.
the address, email address
The
up
email
there
address
so
up
she
on
can
the
have it ready for the beginning of the meeting.
I'll go ahead.
I don't have anybody for the invocation. Does anybody want to? Pledge.
I'll do it. Did you get one of these?
I printed one out. I think I have. Okay.
We have, under ceremonial matters, the Run the Reagan organization will be presenting a check to South Clinic Cluster Foundation. We have the approval of minutes. We'll come back to those. Under public hearing, we will open the floor for anyone who wants to make a comment on the millage rate proposal. The proposals for four mills, which is what it's been the last several years.
2 years.
2 years. We had lowered it the year before that. So if anyone wants to speak to that. Then we have the rest are first readings. We've got the first reading on the Baptist Church, first reading on the toilets. We had the first reading for the townhomes down on 78, and the first reading for the townhome, or not townhomes, but the flat, the apartments on.
May I ask a question? I was at the planning commission meeting. Kurt was also, and he voiced his opinion on this rezoning that abuts Nile Hill. And Chuck told me I should recuse myself. Now, should I do I need to recuse myself tonight also? Since this is
first reading?
procedural, or just, you want me to abstain, or?
You wouldn't abstain. If you're recusing, you actually get up and leave the room.
There is no action that takes place. So you would not need to, you could make the statement that you will be in the future abstaining.
Recusing.
But we can call Chuck now.
Do you have a preference, Barbara?
Let me, we can text Chuck and.
It's just the mechanics for something that lasts 30 seconds.
I
Having her
agree.
get up and walk out.
I agree completely, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, I think it's more
Yeah.
procedure based.
Yeah.
Like you want.
I will recuse myself from the vote when it occurs at the next meeting. Uh-oh.
It's a little pocket.
Which brings up the,
Brings up, nobody can talk about that.
Okay. All right, so I just texted Chuck.
Okay, we'll see what he says.
And we can always get him on the phone if we need to. Then, nothing under consent agenda or old business. Under new business, we have the ordinance update for the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System Defined Retirement Benefit Plan. What this is, every couple of years, the IRS makes changes to the documents that control retirement plans, benefits, things like that. And if you have any of those type plans, fringe benefit plans, anything else, you have to update to those new plans. You have to update your wording to conform. Otherwise, your plan can be in violation and then you've got all kinds of problems. So this is what this is, if anybody was truly confused about it, because it's a whole bunch of gobbledygook. And usually it's just like a couple of words change, or they might update, some rule provision here or there, or there might have been a law change and then they're updating towards that. But if employers don't keep those plans up to date and they wind up getting audited, I mean, it creates some huge issues. So that's all this is. Essentially, it's housekeeping for keeping that up to date.
In this case, there is no second read or public hearing. This is a approval vote. Yes.
No, it's a first reading.
And yeah, we go directly to approval. We don't second read it, and
We'll have a second read at the next meeting.
we will have a second reading.
So we waive it, yeah.
Okay, so that's the way too.
Because it's an ordinance change.
Okay.
So yeah, so that'll get waived to the July 22nd.
Okay.
Item B, this again is housekeeping. This agreement has to be updated every 3 years to maintain eligibility for the CDBG grant program with the county. So that's what we're doing in item B. Any questions on that one? Item C. Again, is another housekeeping. We have to update this one to be part of, we join in with Gwinnett County for hazard mitigation planning, and we just kind of jump on with their planning process. And that allows us then to participate with FEMA or GEMA funding if a disaster were to happen. And then we'll have D, Christmas decorations, which we'll talk about in the work session. And then we have another pending settlement agreement for the National Opioid Settlement. I think that one was with Kroger. So this is just you all giving me permission to sign that settlement agreement. Then we do have two things that we're asking to add to the agenda. And they're both moratoriums on existing moratoriums that we have, just extensions. One is for the cannabis dispensaries, extending that for another 6 months. They're close, I think, on having the language drafted on those, but we're not done yet. So that would be Resolution 2024-11. And if you're in agreement if we will add that to new business as item F.
We actually have that resolution.
They just emailed it to us.
And put one to everybody.
Oh.
We
You want to see it?
I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, it's not in that.
Yeah, it didn't get everybody, but it's just an additional 6 months.
It's the exact same language we used before, and if you want the titles. There's the title of
I'm sending it right now.
F. Or I can do the update since I have it, or I can update you if
And then the second one would be item G, and that is resolution 2024-12 for CBD stores.
you. 2411 is medical dispensary,
And then 12.
2412 is
Yeah,
CBD.
it's just your number, isn't it, on your
Right,
tablet?
right, I wrote it down.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, any questions? Everybody good on the regular meeting? Then we will go back to the work session. Any correspondence? No city attorney's report. Update of ongoing projects.
First thing I have on here is Mercy Montgomery, our assistant city manager, is here tonight.
First official meeting.
First official meeting, so we're happy to have her.
COVID-free.
That's right.
Free and vacation down. It's the first time, so town center progress, so the restaurants on Oak, the 2 restaurants that are there, they've been progressing well. If you've noticed, they've been doing the masonry work on the exterior, which is a big milestone to get that brick up. And I think they're still on track to turn the building over to the restaurants that will occupy the space to build out the interior at the end of this month or the very beginning of August. So that's a big milestone for them, and they'll be able to start doing the interior work, and we're still on track to hopefully be open by Thanksgiving there. So that's exciting. The nail salon is now open. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to go over there and take a look at it, but it is open now.
I did.
Yeah, so you're good.
Very good. And then we've been, Mercy and I have been having active discussions with Casto on some programming down there. So we had, a couple weeks ago, we had an acoustic guitar player, and Hacienda was going to bring a food truck out to go ahead and start introducing folks to their food and things. And then, we had 3 weeks of no rain, and then we had rain on the one day that we actually had something, kind of planned, so we had to reschedule that. So this Thursday, we're planning on that same kind of event being out there with an acoustic guitar player and a food truck, and King of Pops as well will be out there. So popsicles and things like that. So from 6 to 9.
6 to 9?
6 to 9.
Cool, great.
And Mercy's working on the kind of social media piece on that to get the word out there to the public, but just for everyone to know here, 6 to 9 on Thursday.
Come by Thursday.
Let them know doing. And part of the larger picture with Casto is much broader on how we kind of activate that space and how we kind of bring people there outside of these small things. So there'll be, I'm sure, some trial and error things that we will try as far as kind of what works and what doesn't work. For instance, Mercy and I have had some conversations with some folks that kind of have a cornhole league. That it could be pretty level packed. People come out and they just play cornhole and hang out. That is available to them. They kind of come out and do that. So we'll kind of bring those to you guys as we kind of get those. So, but some minor things to kind of get the space going as we're transitioning from construction now the actual use of the space. Yeah. As far as the market lease goes, so the DDA has approved the market lease. The tenant, it's in their court now. They've got a few things that they're working out as far as creating an LLC and some other things, but we'll hopefully that we'll be signing that soon, and then we'll offer the races on announcing who that is officially, and then all the interior build out that comes on that space as well. So big step for us, big step for the city. Sidewalk improvements, so Pinehurst is.
Before we leave the town center construction, I know the safety bar to keep
Yes.
trucks from going in the deck from the Grove side was down, and someone took out a couple of the mirrors that were finally put in place. Any updates on?
Yeah, so that's, believe it or not, that's the second headed bar that someone has knocked down. We knocked down the first time, we put it back up, and someone knocked it down again. And so we are talking internally, I don't want to put another headache bar up again for someone to just knock down. So we're exploring some maybe different options and what we can do to try to limit the size of vehicles that can go through them. There's different types of interventions that you can do to try to do that that aren't hanging from some hooks. There, kind of thing like that. A U-Haul truck came through, and I guess when it hit the windshield, it backed up, and when they backed up, it came down. So there's a sign there now that says clearance, but it's not hanging from there. We are talking about how to improve that. So we don't have that again. Yeah, I think that mirror lasted for 2 days before someone knocked that down.
Off the cats.
Did we order extras when we got the meeting?
No, Barb, we were so hopeful that no one was going
We don't have to
to.
replace them every 2 days.
The replacement is on order, and the other two that are hung up have not been knocked down, so we've got some that just put one. Sidewalk improvements, so Pinehurst is nearly complete there. We're gonna have a punch list walk for Pinehurst and Skyland there to release the contractor from some of the things that they've done there.
It looks good. Have they taken, is AT&T moved their stuff in?
No.
No, AT&T is not.
Do we have a date that they're?
I called them last week and said, hey, give me a date, and they were saying by the end of this month, hopefully we'll be out there.
The end of July?
Well,
They're moving it.
there's Comcast too.
Comcast is
Comcast is
done.
moved. They're done.
Okay.
We're waiting on AT&T.
It looks like more than.
I know, it looks
On the
like more than
poles,
just
and
AT&T.
Well, it is more of a line, it's more than a simple pole transfer they're gonna do actual upgrades to fiber as part of it. Can you just do the pole transfer instead of now?
Well, can we just go ahead and cut the pole down and they can deal with it later?
Well, I mean,
I bet it gets repaired faster.
legally, I think that might open us up to a lawsuit.
Well, they,
It's been
supposed to
18
be
months.
18 months.
Yeah. AT&T move it faster. As far as just city business cleanup beautification goes, we've had some good application for the code enforcement position. That job ad closes next week, and we'll start interviewing some folks with some good candidates. Nothing new as far as package sales implementation goes, and other than what Chuck shared last month, just waiting on the judge and the order on there. Briscoe Park progress, so we've made some progress there. We've got all the utilities will be disconnected, so the gas and power that serve those buildings have been disconnected. The water and the sewer will be cut and capped this week, and then hopefully next week they'll be out and running. Everything. We had a good meeting with them a couple weeks ago just to make sure we're on the same page. You think an RFP is clear, and you get out there and you just, let's just make sure, this goes, this stays, that sort of thing. And so hopefully next week they'll be able to get up the schedule to get out there and demo. And if any of you I know that have been around the city want to witness anything come down, I will let you know when they're actually out there bull pushing things over and all their GMC. If you recall, when we had met with them a few weeks ago, they said once you get to the past the schematic design process, which is where we gave our input, kind of that floor plan, then they kind of go dark, so to speak, in that they're working with their engineers and they're starting to take that schematic plan and make construction drawings out of it and things. So we don't really hear a lot from them at that point because we've given them our input on the floor plan and what we want to see and different things. But they are working on beginning the process of exterior renderings that they'll share with us on the way the building will look. And when we get those, we'll definitely bring those to you guys and let you take a look at them as well. The CDBG application The mayor had mentioned that re-qualifying for the county, we are actually going to submit a CDBG application for some funding for the rec center, community rec center, and that application is due on the 12th. And we've got just a few other sections to fill out, but we'll be fine to get in that deadline and keep our fingers crossed that we might get some money to kind of help bridge the funding gap. North and Wisteria, we talked about this last time, we did not receive the GTIP grant. It was a grant / loan of $1 million. A portion of that was a loan, a portion of that was a grant. Most of those projects that applied were denied. I think they said 2/3 of the projects were denied. They just had way more projects than they had funding. It was kind of one of those low-hanging fruit, not a big impact compared to other projects, and we kind of cut out from that. So we have ARPA money set aside in the county's 2024 shared SPLOST dollars. The other likely funding source, will really be SPLOST for transportation SPLOST. We just don't really have any other options. We gave our 2017 SPLOST joint projects to the roundabout at Oaken, I don't know if you remember. So those dollars will be there for that design work, which is also a very important project, but it really doesn't leave us with any other option except going after SPLOST there. I mentioned last time that the United Community Bank, that's there on the corner of North and Wisteria, was brought to our attention from their management that that's actually not connected to a sanitary sewer, but it has a use of a septic tank. And their drain field is that green space that's right there on North Road. So we tried to see if we could figure out some sort of hybrid, septic system that could fit within the area that's going to be left over after we purchase them right away from them. And we've heard back from the soil scientists that we hired and think that it's not possible that we're going to have to connect them to the sewer in order to do that project. And we haven't had that discussion with the bank yet. We wanted to weigh all our options and be sure that that is something that we're going to talk with them about this week or next. We're going to get some price estimates on that. I told Larry it's definitely disappointing for sure, but I'd rather know it now than have a multi hundreds of thousands of dollar change order when we are excavating and realizing, oh my gosh, this is a septic tank and we got to connect these people and scramble. So it's delayed us, but it's actually the best timing for that, because now we can fit into the plans and into the bid document, and like I said, one of those unpleasant surprises that, but it will not be a cheap addition to run that pipe to the nearest connection. We'll have to go under Wisteria, on the Danfield property. The next property over is the grossest spot and the recommended spot for the county's water and sewer department. Made some good progress on right-of-way acquisition, locked down a few more folks. Working with Chuck's legal team on getting the agreements out to these people so we can get those signed and get those off to the witnesses there. Traffic calming, so the Tanglewood project is underway. They have, if you haven't had a chance to go look, so the curbing has been poured, so using my hands if you can see what I'm talking about, but kind of the center teardrop has been excavated and the curbing has been poured, and then there we go. I guess where you come out the lanes, that curbing has been poured as well, and the next step now is kind of the stamped concrete that will go and part of the center landscape area.
A lot of that's been done already.
Okay, good. Well, Larry said this week, so I guess Monday they were working on it today. Yeah, very good.
I might add, we had a house fire in Tanglewood on July 4th. And one of the big concerns some folks had was the emergency vehicles are not going to be able to get through. Well, they had no problem at all. And in fact, Stephanie McDonald was going home at the time and she followed the fire trucks down Tanglewood, and she said they had no problems. So that, I guess, That was a good trial run for the fire trucks anyway.
Absolutely. And they've had, like everybody else, it's pretty good weather, so they've been able to get after it.
They've been out there, I mean, they start every day at like 8:05, they're out there, we start hearing them.
One thing I didn't share with everybody that came up this weekend was there was some illegal dumping on our newly purchased property, and between our crack staff, they're on it. They're scheduled to pick it up, so if any of y'all hear anything about that, know that it's taken care of.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Matt? And we will move on to item B, Christmas decorations.
Okay. So, it's a revised handout today after small discussion with Matt. Added the Plan B side. So if you could take a look at the handouts with the highlighted item on the front, the one that says Christmas decor summary for 2024 season. This is a summary of the 4 pages that are included in our agenda packet, our handout that I went over with all of you at our previous meeting, the breakdown of costs, shared costs for our developer, and this is a summary on this first side. However, it seems like we're going to Plan B as our option. I do not believe, unless something has changed in the last couple of hours, do not believe our developer is going to be willing or able to reimburse us for a share of the cost that we would have incurred had we made the decision to go with what I'd suggested initially on the first side. Does that make sense? So what I've done is prepared another option for you all to consider. And if you're not comfortable in making a decision tonight, we can move that item off tonight's agenda until the next July 22nd, if you want to. Just something to consider though, we do need to cover our new areas that are opening in our town center. I've given you a map, and I shared this with you at the last time I talked about this, but I wanted to point out that the areas that are going to really look bare if we don't address the additional pole mount needs are what you're seeing in the red. 57 pole mounts. They're the smaller 4 to 6 feet pole mounts. They're the less expensive ones that would go on these decorative poles. The main road that is open this year, that was not last year, well, 2 areas really, Thomas Snell Way, which goes right through the Grove and has a number of decorative poles, as you can see. And then we also really want to bring all of Wisteria on board, whereas last year we had power outages in multiple places due to the hospital construction. So assuming we want to go ahead and cover those, we also want to cover North Road, which was another route for our parade as well. So with all of those additions and the programming in and around the Grove, we're looking at the 57 pole mounts that we would want to purchase to cover those. So if you're looking at Plan B,
And those are purchased, right?
those are purchased. So I've included
They
that,
will be.
we hope.
Yeah,
should you
that's what I
decide.
did, is a purchase, not lease.
Right. My recommendation, we've got that existing contract, and what we would look at adding to that is that $32,000 amount hotel motel tax fund spending with no reimbursement, just to be clear, with no reimbursement to the city by Mid-City Casto. And what I've done is I've taken the prior recommendations from the front side and crossed out what I would not do because of the change in funding, I think we do need to do our City Hall front sign, crossed out the Grove. Our developer won't share a cost, I'm sure, with the pole mounts, the install takedown, and then I've cut out the accent piece, which would have been a mini showstopper photo op in front of the tree safe area of the Grove, which would draw people there. But this is what we're looking at if we're going it alone. And again, I mean, I think it's worth it in terms of what we get back from the tourism factor. But that's what I would recommend based on new information when it comes to our partner developer. So your thoughts, are we comfortable going with a Plan B recommendation? Do you want to think about it more?
So of the 32,000 in here, 21,000, the 57 pole mounts are things that we're purchasing.
Yes.
So that won't be an ongoing every
Right.
year. But the install takedowns
Right.
would be repeating, and the City Hall front sign would be
Yes.
repeating.
And I broke that down for you in that first
Yeah.
spreadsheet area.
Okay.
So it would be adding, and again, I want to mention that the original plan that we went into this with last year was that we were going to go ahead and replace 140 pole mounts this year. The wreaths, which were not really well lit, but when we worked them in with the decor from last year, I think what we found out was that we were okay with it.
Yeah.
They looked kind of cool with not so bright and bright. So we have come away from wanting to replace all those wreaths. We want to keep them. We do want to phase them out as they are no longer working. So that huge expense isn't there and not coming to you with that, but instead we are looking at the additional 57 because of the growth of and completion of the Grove. So that's kind of where we're at. Without the little extras, without the little extra starbursts in the tree save area, which would be really cool, but you know,
Yeah.
it's money. We don't necessarily want to spend on some of the extras here.
Matt, assuming the market building, those people get a release in the next 10 days, what's their projected time of opening? Any idea?
I mean, we originally talked with them was by the end of the year,
Right.
end of this year, you know, I mean, it's hard to give you an answer on that now when they're not under construction. No
Right.
interior on the interior, because you've got permitting and everything.
So they're probably looking at 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, that was the original kind of.
I just hate to not have that photo op piece out in the Grove when we have the 2 restaurants, rather have 3, coming online. Because we're going to be getting traffic
It's a lot of
through
traffic,
there.
yeah.
Because
But remember, I'm not quite sure where you're going to place that, but we're going to have that light up Grove sign in the tree safe area, so you wouldn't want to put anything right in front of it out in the grass.
Depends, I mean, it depends on the positioning. We can do a lot with it. We can
Yeah.
put it in front of the mosaic, you know, there's a lot, that's not set in stone. That's a
with
designer.
access to power.
Yeah, right, that's another factor here too. But that's what Leslie and Roger are the pros at.
And that's,
figuring that out.
that's the $3,000.
That would
part
actually
was
be,
marked
that would
out.
actually be a 6,000 fee,
Oh, never mind that.
because that 3,000 was split,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
was what I was working at.
Sorry.
And I didn't include it again down here, just because I cut the item. But if you want to add that back in, it is, I've broken it down in the other handout. It's a 2-dimensional
Yeah, it's
Present.
at 6,000
It's between 5 to 6,000.
with,
It's definitely.
So maybe
with
this
not
year
having the
we-
market building on.
We focus on
Right.
pole mounts for this year and
Maybe
We'll
we could make
we'll get
some-
Jason's kids Christmas presents and put them out there.
Well,
Right.
we'll need a little more than that.
Well, you know, there's always smaller things you can go with, but,
Well,
you know, I just cut all of it because I figured the priority would be to get pole mounts to match the rest of.
Yeah. Well, that gives you some time too, you know, what if the restaurants take a little longer?
Right.
You know, what if?
but we still have enough decoration down there that we don't look like the Grinch.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I'm comfortable with the 57 pole mounts. You know, those are purchased, that's not gonna be recurring, just refreshing what doesn't work from that point forward. And then, of course, adding that yearly $8,500 for putting it down, picking it up. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with what you've got here.
Okay.
With the
So-
32,000.
What we would need to have, I mean, anybody else have any thoughts, concerns? Then,
Carrie, you look like you want to say something.
Can we revisit Casto in January on the showstopper? So that we're not coming to them saying, hey, in 30 days we need this money? Or is that a hard, are they a hard and fast number?
after,
No, I don't think they're hard and fast. I think they haven't made, did they get back and say no? Never mind.
But with that conversation with Kirk, it was more, let's talk globally going forward,
Yeah.
and how we do things together, and I think there's no
well,
harm
okay, I was
in
gonna
revisiting.
ask why they're
Revisiting
opposed to
it.
this.
Yeah, I don't
Does it harm to ask?
I don't get that, I don't get that sense, but two, you're gonna have more businesses that are gonna be there and operating, and when we have that stakeholder group together,
Right.
there might be more people willing to pitch in.
Yeah, but it's also easier to lease it when it's well decorated, but I'm fine with.
Well, and some of these things that we're taking off now, that we can revisit a little earlier in the year
Yeah.
next year, so they've got a little more time
Yeah,
before we're asking for extra money.
yeah.
And they know where we stand.
Right.
well,
In fact,
And I think bringing in that downtown manager, you know, that we've got that job out there now too, you know, when all of that starts coalescing together, I think things will get a little bit
I have
better.
learned from a source.
A source.
On the decor committee, that if we want to go ahead with the accent photo op piece this year, that Experience Snellville will be willing to pick up 3,000, and if we pick up 3,000.
I say let's go with it. That's just my.
And that's the piece that we can upgrade in future
Oh, yeah.
years.
We don't buy it.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't buy
these
it.
are all, that
So
part
we
is
can
all leased.
upgrade
So
as
that's a
we.
year to year, you could change it,
Yes.
do something
Right.
different
As long as it's more.
Right, as long as it's a more
That's the thing with
expensive
this.
piece.
What it would be, I don't know if you guys can all see, but you've gotten this in your handouts prior to this. So these are 4 to 6 feet 2D ornament. She's got an ornament, a present, and a bow. And these kind of go together, get slightly different heights,
So we
sizes.
get all three.
So all three that roughly, she's got them priced, Leslie has them priced $888 to $2160. So I went high and estimated, you know, 5,000 to 6,000.
So you're
For these
planning
three.
all three.
Right,
Yeah.
right, that would be your mini showstopper. The big showstoppers that we're not considering for this year. You know, like the horse and buggy thing, the sleigh, these are running, you know, anywhere from, I've given you guys prices on this.
20 to
And again, yeah,
40,000.
20 to 30,000, to lease it for the year. And those are the kinds of pieces that you have to order a year in advance, otherwise you're not getting them, so. These, Leslie and Roger have the mini showstoppers already in stock, so those are, they have candy canes, but I said no to those, but. So, that's where we're at. Do we want to talk about the mini showstopper edition, or
When does she need to know that? Pretty soon, right?
yesterday?
Yeah.
I know it's July. I mean, if we wait past July 31st, and I sure as heck don't want to put it on the 22nd agenda. We've got enough on
Oh,
July
no.
22nd
Right, right.
with the public hearing, so, we could delay, if you're not comfortable, I would never ask any of you to vote or do anything, take action on anything that you're not comfortable with. So that's where we're at.
So what's your druthers?
My shoulder hurts right now. I feel like my arm's getting twisted.
And August is good too. So,
So are we making a motion tonight for 32,831, or are we making a motion tonight for 35,831? Do we want the mini showstopper? That's, we need to know before we go in there.
Actually, yes, since we have a.
Since we do have a partner on that.
Yes.
Okay,
we
so,
do have a partner, we have a verbal commitment.
so whoever makes the motion on that would
So,
make the motion.
with the showstopper, mini showstopper, baby one.
And I'm assuming you're probably going to want to make the motion on that.
I'd be happy to.
because you've done a
Not
lot of
saying,
work.
we'll need a contract amendment
Okay, and
for
I'm,
that.
do you,
So if you could make your motion permission for the mayor to sign.
pending the
The
contract from
amendment.
Christmas Decor,
Yeah,
okay, and approval of the attorney's approval as well. So, yeah, I didn't want to ask Leslie to give us a contract until we really knew what we wanted.
Right.
Wanted in that edition, but,
Not when it's
I'll be
this
happy to.
detailed stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. That's me.
Okay, so that is all of the items for the work session. We have no exec session, so is there a motion to adjourn the work session?
I make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion, is there a second? Second. Motion and a second, all in favor?